Jason Willoughby with Reach a City Ministries, and I'm here to very briefly go over all the various things we do as a ministry. My wife told me the other day, people don't know a quarter of all the things you do for the Lord. So I said, you're right. So I'm going to try to go through quickly all the things we do, so hopefully some of those things can bless you and encourage you in Christ. So I want to do more for Jesus, and hopefully I'll get to do some more with you. So stay tuned. We're going to take a tour. Starting with the obvious, I do evangelism and discipleship training, mainly for the quiet supermajority, introverts. It sounds counterintuitive, but if you think about it, Paul says the whole body isn't an eye, is it? Which means we've got people with different gifts. The quieter, many people who are thoughtful, noticers, they love meeting needs. And so wouldn't it be awesome if we could help them be even better at what they're already good at in Jesus, have them practice skills, and then let them quietly build relationships outside the church with people in their everyday life and have some skill and empowerment in Christ to do that well. So that's the evangelism part. Then I do discipleship training, which is I use a put your worst foot forward, let Jesus love you in those places. He graces you and gives you too much love for just you. So then spend the excess love on loving him and loving one another in community. So we look at the private disciplines, the vertical relationship, easy habits that anyone, even the newest believer, can practice that are game changers. And in the community side of discipleship, how grace goes back and forth between us and how that produces some powerful things in Jesus. So if a new believer is rooted in that community and that grace is in the room, whoa, look out. So that's the main thing, but there's a lot of other things I do. So keep listening. One of the things that I do because I work with churches is I have a side ministry of encouraging pastors. If I'm helping your church, I'm going to be loving, encouraging, and blessing your leader and leaders. Pandemic's been really tough. Ministry, leadership in ministry is never easy. So a lot of times, who's going to care for the people caring for us? I will. That's something I get to do for Jesus. So I have a nice little group of pastors that I am speaking life and encouraging and calling up, and it's making a difference. So I do that. I also do some things with college students. I call them young men of promise. So one of my ministries that I've been doing for many decades is working with Alpha Gamma Omega Christ Center Fraternity, which means I get to speak some encouragement into younger men, potential leaders. So a few times a year, I'm taking a deep dive with a group of young men, and I'm training them in Jesus and encouraging them. And I'm looking at it as a long-term kingdom win, because let's face it, I'm probably not going to be living to be 120. So there's more years behind me than ahead of me. So it's time to give it away. It's time to multiply it. So I do that. I do that also locally. I have a short list of younger men that I'm speaking and encouraging, walking with them through life. So I do that, and I love doing that. That's my kid in a candy store, probably zone in doing ministry. One of the things I also do is I nurture and encourage locally a citywide gospel movement. I have connections with large movements of churches in various urban areas, especially here in the Pacific Northwest, and also here in McMinnville, my own backyard. So I try to work with and through key leaders to encourage them to come alongside those movements, because when the church bands together to love the unloved places and people in their city, and they form alliances, people of goodwill, aligning with us, people of faith in Jesus, it is remarkable. A, what God can do to meet some needs and see some powerful things happen, and B, what it does for our collective witness, our testimony as a whole group with those outside the faith. And isn't that something we really need to increase and better? So that's another key thing that I'm involved with. Thing I find myself doing is producing resources, little video clips, things on my website that are free to encourage individual believers, to encourage pastors and leaders, to encourage those who want to do evangelism and discipleship. So there's a lot of free things on my website. Oh, I forgot to mention, I also train leadership teams. So part of my whole mission is equipping the saints, replicating, investing in others what God has invested in me. So I do leadership trainings in prayer, in spiritual life, in that grace space. So those are all my website. If you want to find out more, you can look under, other workshops. I have things there. Oh, forgot one more. If a church wants to know if it's ready for engaging the culture, I do some training in helping churches get ready to know what it is they can grow in as a community that would be very powerful in the Lord for reaching people outside the church. So anyway, lots of irons in the fire, lots of good things I'm trying to do for the Lord. Pray for me. And if there's any way I can help you, your church's leadership team, I'm all in. And if you have younger men of promise, want me to come to speak to youth groups, college groups, I do that too. Usually God graces that. It's very potent in the Lord. And so, that's a good overview of what I do. I hope you have been touched in the Lord. I hope that some of these things will speak to you and bless you now and for the rest of your time on earth. God bless you. Thanks for hearing me out. Goodbye.